That was Randy and I in China. So there's that. What is it? New membership coins. Um, yeah, there, finally. That was like the longest leg I've ever seen. Looks like it's working now. Okay. Okay. So now I'll tell my story. So my story, as you guys may be aware, my business partner had brain surgery, emergency brain surgery, kind of out of nowhere, uh, like a month ago now. So he does that. Then he goes to some like physical rehab just to make sure he doesn't lose motor skills and that kind of stuff. And he's in there for 6 days, gets a clean bill of health. Dude's looking good, right? Doing awesome. So then he goes home, and 2 days later, he's found unresponsive. So they call the ambulance, they rush him back, and he has another emergency brain surgery. This time, real close. Almost didn't make it through it. They called the family and like get him here. He's not gonna make it through the night. He did make it through the night though, and so he spent the last let's see, like the last week all in the hospital. People visiting him. We rushed out that night, all that kind of stuff. He's a few hours away from where we are, and got him through that. So he's doing pretty good. And then Monday we got him over to rehab, physical rehab again. But this one, took a little more of a toll. Still doing really good, but lost a little bit of motor skills. When it comes to like eating and stuff, just a little bit shakier or something. And so I'll be spending more time this week down there visiting with him and making sure he's comfortable. I made him a promise that if you go back to rehab, if you really don't want to go, I said I'll be there. I'll make sure someone's there every day with you. So that means Katie and I pitching in, helping out a lot, and yeah. So he's back there. He's on the mend. Still very serious though, watching it, and yeah. So that's why it's kind of been like, oh, you missed another live stream and this and that. And there's been a few updates here and there, and I haven't been filming much. It's been mostly if I have extra time, I'm in another city. So it's been just stressful and no extra time. That's really all it's been. So I'll be down there again this weekend, I'm sure, and for sure Friday, and a lot of stuff has been put on hold. We got to help with, well, we don't have to. We're going to help a little bit with, his daughter's got to get back to school shopping done. She's got school starting back up again. And so there's some stuff we want to help out with, which means, we'll still release videos every week, but, might not be as much live streams. Even tonight, I'm going to cut this one a little short. I just got a lot to catch up on. And so if you're a vendor or a store or a friend and you've got an email and you're like, that guy hasn't responded yet, I got a pile of emails that I really haven't gotten to yet. And I try to kind of get to them when I can, but when I'm at the hospital, I try to be there and engage and not just like sitting on my phone. So normally in life, I'm working and working at the same time, and so all of that has been falling through the cracks. So all right, let's see here. What else is on the talk about list before we get into some Q&A and that kind of stuff? All right. Oh yes, a question that we've been seeing a little bit lately is why is it better to buy live plants from Aquarium Co-op than a local fish store or Petco and PetSmart? And I want to start this conversation with, first and foremost, a plant is a plant is a plant is a plant. So anybody can bring a plant from nearly dead to amazing. Anyone can take an amazing plant and almost kill it. And so the main factors, in my opinion, are ease of access. We make it easy to order from us. We provide videos, we provide information. If it doesn't arrive well, we'll reship it, all of that. Like the guarantee is kind of the warranty and the guarantee and the benefiting the hobby is kind of the high points. And knowing that we won't do what so many other vendors do, and that is and I even ordered from one a few weeks ago, is this way to test their stuff. All of our stuff gets put into our warehouse of tanks, and we actually try and grow them, and there's CO2 and there's nutrients and all of that. Not everybody does that. There's a lot of companies that will take your order and then they delay, or they say, we only ship Mondays and Tuesdays. Then they place the order for what you've ordered with the plant farm. It comes in, they put it into a box, it never touches water, and then they reship it to you. Now, that doesn't happen everywhere. Like, that's not happening at Petco's and PetSmarts, as an example. But maybe there, the plants, you notice how Petco's and PetSmarts a lot of times are kind of out of plants? They order just enough to kind of get them through a day or two of the weekend, and then they order more because they're not, the systems aren't really designed very well to keep them alive and thriving. Just like our system is designed to keep them alive, thriving, and growing, but not too fast and not too big, because then they become a real pain to ship. So if we get a sword plant that's this tall, it's probably going to get snapped when we ship it. If it's this tall, we've got a whole system designed to ship you one this tall. And so it's very problematic when a farm will go, we got bigger ones. We go, no, we don't want bigger ones. Remember all the cards and the meetings we had and the stuff we put at your plant prep stations for all the workers? Like, they have to be a certain size because our liners, our, the things that keep the plants wet, the bags, all of the stuff is set to specification. So we do everything we can to make that happen right, including the algorithm that we designed to look at the weather, where it's going, how many days is it going to take, and forecast the best it can, and recommend liners and heat packs, and mostly liners and heat packs. So the main reason I would say is, more often you'll get a more stable plant from us. And when quality is bad, so we have a full-time plant person that walks the plants basically all day long, but every day they do inventory. So we have, very few instances where we sell a plant and it's actually out of stock. And then 2, anything that's looking iffy, it either gets thrown out or sent to the retail store to get rehabbed, or we're figuring out why. Is it this farm that's having a problem? Is it, really hot temperatures during shipment can, lower plant quality a little bit coming to us. So then, okay, maybe we keep them out for a couple days, then we put them in. And like the study I'm doing right now, which you guys will probably see an update here in one of the videos, is we haven't been selling Anubias for, over a month now, which is a huge hit to our business because Anubias is an amazing plant, but we were seeing too much Anubias rot. That led me to ordering to other vendors, or, like other stores like us that sell them, and I was getting it from them also. And so I knew it wasn't just us, but I think I've got it figured out now, and you'll hear about that in a video, and I'm hoping we'll be able to bring them back on within the next month. We're going to make some changes at the warehouse, I think, to hopefully help that, and then bring a test batch in to make sure that it solved it, and then we'll put them back on the website. And it's because any product that is on our website, or at least goes through our business, if it's got more than a 5% failure rate, we just get rid of it, plants included. And so with like let's say this pen, this Aquariumcoop pen, by the way, with this pen, if there's a defect in it, it happened at manufacturing. And with plants, not the same. So with plants, there could be defects to manufacturer, aka the farm. There could also be defects from the farm to us, right? If there's a bad weather events and it gets stuck somewhere, takes too long to get here, that kind of stuff. Then there's the chance that we could make it better or worse in our own care. For the most part, we make them better. And then there's a chance for something to go wrong between us and you, that final step. And so with all of those things, if it crests 5%, we no longer sell it. And so sometimes you'll see a plant go away, and that's the reason. And with Anubias, we were having that with the Anubias rot. That plus the normal issues. What's the normal issue? Well, the normal issue is we send out 100 shipments of plants. 2 or 3 of them probably will get delayed somehow, or a customer will leave it in their mailbox all day, and they got a metal mailbox, and those things will just cook. So, there's the normal like 2-ish, 3% that have a problem. And then there's, Anubias rot, which adds on to that. So when we break those thresholds, then we go, you know what, we have to step back and we have to reanalyze and look for a better plan, because we know that you guys don't want an inferior product, even if we make it right, which we always make it right for you. We know we don't want to waste your time, and you lose confidence in us, even if it's a little bit, a lot of times ends up to be a lot. So we're constantly trying to make it better, where in my opinion, maybe some of the chain stores and other places, they have this accepted, it's okay for it not to be good as long as we're making money. And I don't like that concept. I like if we're having a problem, let's fix it and try to make it better. We don't have to solve it today, but we need to know it's a problem and we need to be working towards it. Or we need to stop doing it. And so there's been things like, why don't you sell fish? I don't think we have the time to perfect it and do it right and always be getting better, so we just don't do it. Instead, we choose to partner with people like Aquahuna, and well, that's all we partner with right now, but maybe others in the future. You can test ship Anubias to me if you like. We'll see how it turns out. Oddly enough, it's not so much the last step that has the problem. I think it's something from what we've tested, because when we were shipping Anubias, we shipped thousands in a week, right? And there weren't so much, the patterns that we could identify were actually with the farms. So the problems like this, or figuring out problems like this, they go back years at this point. So we had, the little plant tags you see in the plants? We had our own custom ones made for every single farm on our dime. So, and then we shipped them all to the farms. We go, you have to put our tags in the plants. Now, all the competitors and everybody, the naysayers of Aquariumcoop thought, oh, Aquariumcoop is trying to make it seem like they make their own plants and all these other things, right? And they don't want to advertise where they're getting their plants. It's not true. The real reason was every farm had a unique identifier so that when they were in the warehouses and we're logging any that didn't look good, any that came in bad, any of the stuff, we can enter it into a computer and we can analyze where are the problems. Oh, farm Y always has a problem with plant X, right? Or this time of the year, plant C always has a problem, so that we could get better tracking. And we did that for a long time at our own costs. And unfortunately, it fixed a few things, but it didn't solve the problem. It was one step in the right direction of like, okay, we can start ruling some of these things out. But that's also how we learned. We thought at first that it was just like maybe one or two farms having problems with Anubias. And from the tracking, we found that every single farm was having it. And then we started tracking competitors, and every single competitor was having it. And so then it's not so much what are we doing wrong, it goes back a step further, where the farm's doing wrong, or where they're getting them from. Because the farms, for the most part, farms don't grow their own plants, which that sounds weird. They grow plants, which doesn't make any sense to anybody unless you've been there and you've talked to them. So a farm doesn't grow plants, but they grow plants. What that means is they don't grow the starts. They're not cultivating them. So if I wanted to open up a farm, one of the things I would do is I would establish an account with an overseas farm. And from there, I would order 50,000 plants. I would bring them in, they would land, and I would pay my workers, and we would pot all of them. We'd put them in the pots, and we'd put them in the bands and all that, and we'd get them all in the vats and all that stuff in the farm. Then we would grow them. We would increase their size. So shipping a plant this big across the world, cheap. Shipping a plant this big across the world, expensive. So we ship plants this big across the world. They get to the farm. Then you grow them up to this big. Then you ship them to the store or the business like us. And so they're designed to grow plants bigger, but not so much make new plants. There are some, like pennywort. Pennywort, if you go onto my Facebook, you can look me up, Corey McElroy. You can see pictures of when I've toured some of these farms. It grows a giant bush that's like 10 feet tall and 20 feet wide. And you walk up and you grab a handful, you clip it, you put a rubber band on it, you just made a bunch of pennywort. So there are some plants they do. Other plants like Vallisneria, banana plants, things like that, they're actually collected out of native waters in America. Again, they're not growing them, they collect them. And there'd be way too many if we didn't. And some years there's not enough, so then they don't. So yeah, I'm fairly confident it's a farm problem because it's widespread, but we need to figure out how do we prevent that. And I think I've got a way that's going to help reverse some of the damage. Now, what I believe to be going on is Anubias rot doesn't happen out of water, from what I can tell. but it will happen when it enters water, or can. So I think it's more like it can be having a problem, but it doesn't express until it's underwater, and then it starts to rot. Um, and so I think the cure that I have basically is make the best possible water conditions, um, and you'll have better luck, which seems so obvious, but like an Anubias will survive in almost anything, but that transition period I think is going to be critical. I haven't even seen Anubias in the lab cultures. They do. The farms we buy from, they buy a lot of lab started Anubias, and then you'll see them in tissue cultures as well, which oddly enough, we bought from one of our competitors. They also do some wholesale and stuff. And we bought tissue cultures of Anubias, and they rotted. Not all of them, but it was like we ordered like 50, and I think I got 10 of them, and 2 of them, mine actually they were rotting and had mold on them. And I was like, for something that's supposed to be sterile, this is supposed to be impossible. So that kind of was not good. So it's, I don't know if it's just lag from COVID or just, I don't know why all of a sudden it's become really bad. Maybe it's the Aquariumcoop effect, where X amount of years of us selling thousands a week leads to, I don't know, like a shortage of like just always make more or faster. And that's the problem. I don't know where, but 10 years ago, Anubias rod existed, but it was much, much rarer. And so I'm not sure what the catalyst is of why it's why it's more of a problem now, seemingly to me. This is a problem you're seeing in storage or customers are reporting? Both. Yep. And in my own care. So if I order from a competitor, like I ordered $100 worth of Anubias from a competitor, every single one of them had Anubias rot and has died within the last month. So it's, when you see it in my personal care, you see it in a warehouse care, you see it coming from the farms, you see it in the customers reporting it. And it's not all of them, right? Like what we did in our own internal process is we would audit every plant every morning and remove any ones we thought had symptoms of Anubias rot. Now, like being a doctor, you can, if you see 1,000 patients a day, you could probably get a lot of the quick hits. Yep, we're getting a lot, but there's going to be some that slip through the cracks. And those that slip through the cracks end up at your house. And then at your house, you email us and we got to reship them. And so Anubias for a long time now has been non-profitable. We've lost money on Anubias, which isn't a good place to be until we got to figure it out. So as Brandon said, we have some in the retail store. We do have some in the retail store, and that's because it's a much easier, by taking out the last step of shipping and you being able to pick it out and us being able to look at it in person and hand it to you, the odds of you getting that bright, beautiful Anubias in your hand to take home, much higher than, so if you buy 2 Anubias, and let's say at the retail store we sell 11 Anubias today, whereas if they're online, it's like, oh, we shipped 342 of them. It's harder to ensure, is this the best one out of the ones we have right now, where if you get to go in and pick it personally, you can go, oh, that's the one, I would like that one. That one looks great to me. Paul Martin, read the read. We need more Randy Aquarius podcast read episodes. Where has he gone? I will let him know again when he moved and he was like, I'm setting up the podcast. I'm like, do it. People love it. And the reality is, it's a labor of love. It's fun to create some, and it's a lot of work to create a bunch. And so the problem is the reward system for something like a podcast or a live stream like this. You're rewarded by doing a bunch, and the rewards are fairly minimal, and not rewarded at all, and almost punished for not enough. But I will pass it along to Randy, because I do think more people want more stuff to listen to for sure, and he did a good job. Oh my gosh. I've ruined my own thing. I don't even know where it is. I'm gonna try to go find it here in a minute. So CS reminded me of customer service. I'm gonna read this thing, and then we've got really cool shirts that I want to show off. So it says, hi, Corey, longtime customer. I saw the retail posting. I noticed the pay isn't increased over $1 in the past 2 years. Do you plan on updating it soon to keep it competitive against inflation? Well, I can tell you, CS, that is not true. Because I know we've been increasing the pay, and at one point we increased it $2 for inflation. And then I know right now we start people out at $22.54, I believe. So are we going to keep increasing the starting wage? I don't know. Are we going to go out of our way to increase it much more than that? No. 22.54 currently, I believe to be a good starting wage for someone that can come in right out of never having a job before or anything like that. And there's plenty of growth opportunities, in my opinion, at Aquarium Co-op. So I'm not going to go out of my way to just give more money, because that would not be sustainable. If it is a sustainable model and everything's working, great. I would say one of the biggest benefits that never gets talked about, I shouldn't say never, doesn't get talked about often enough for working at Aquarium Co-op, we never cut your hours. You're never shorted hours. So even in the middle of summer where we have too much labor for the amount of money we make, we don't cut hours. So everybody gets 40 hours every week, every time, for over 10 years. Now, we do allow people to take time off. We will tell people, hey, we're slow this week. We're overstaffed. If you would like to go home, you may. It's not paid, but hey, go hit the beach, go do what you want to do, because we know that it won't be a lot of extra time off during the cold months when everyone's buying aquarium stuff. So that, and we have rad health insurance. We pay the first $1,000 every month. So that covers you, your spouse, and your first child. So not a lot of employers do that. 3% employee match for 401k. Some of the things we have done lately, I guess I've never mentioned these, but Zenzo became the director of company culture, and he's been deploying some of his ideas and some of my ideas, and some of those would be more days off. So everybody now gets their birthday off. I believe the rule, and he'll know it much better than I, so don't quote me on this if you're my employee. I believe the rule is, I think it's anytime that week you can take the day off. So if your birthday's on a Monday, but you really want Friday off because that's when the party is at your family's house, you now can take that off, and that's a new paid holiday for everybody. One thing we're on our feet a lot at work. So the employees don't even know this, but it'll be given out on Tuesday. Everybody's getting my favorite insoles that I love, that I wear to conventions and stuff like that after testing a bunch. So everybody will be getting a pair of those, and instructed, when you need more, ask for more. We also increased the shoe budget for everybody. So it used to be you got a free pair of shoes every month, or not month, every year. And now I think it's twice a year, or there's more. I don't know exactly what it is, but I know it's more now. So there's a lot of extra perks besides, free drinks every day and employee discount. And I know there's other things I don't think of off the top of my head. Clothing, there's X amount of shirts and swag and all of that. So in my opinion, when we look at the landscape of comparable jobs around us, now we're not doing that corporate speak where it's like the industry's average is, for a warehouse worker or retail employee, $14. We look at, like I know, for instance, the gas station down from my house is at, I think, $18.50. So we're at $22.50 something. But the gas station down the house doesn't have the benefits and all those other things. So, and at the end of the day, I would love to give all my employees infinite money, but we don't want to go out of business. And two, we need to keep our products affordable, right? Like it's, at this point, I'm the CEO, and I'm just a fat guy who loves fish tanks. And the money's got to come from you guys, essentially. You got to buy stuff, and we got to sell stuff. And if that stops, employees don't have jobs. And so we do a lot to make sure we get that balance right, and that I can order my shirt off of Amazon and, make the world go round. So, all right. Bear with me. I want to show this shirt off. I'm going to run downstairs and see if I can find it, and then I will gravitate towards more more stuff, more questions. Be right back. Whew. I had to do a wardrobe change. So the wardrobe change has been completed. So AKT, who makes a lot of our merch, listens to the live stream because they're actually a nerd like me. And once they heard best customer service on the planter, they made such a shirt. And we got those sent out to all of our customer service agents. So, you know, fun stuff like that. And then this is also from AKT, but it kind of blends into company culture and pay and all that. I'm out of breath for running upstairs. We did the company party this summer, and these got delayed because they were super awesome and took longer to make than we thought. Everybody at the company got an Enjoy Nature Daily. I stand up for this thing. Ugh. Enjoy Nature Daily blanket for them or their dogs to throw. We use them for the dogs and me. And it says Aquariumcoop down there. And yeah, so we try to compensate on multiple levels, whether it's time off for the amount of time you worked with us, whether it's pay, whether it's extra stuff, whether it's appreciation. What I've learned being the CEO of a company is that people need money, but they need so many other things to be fulfilled at work, whether it's job satisfaction, whether it's appreciation, whether it's parties. And so we have a very unique, not unique, that's not the right word, diverse crew. We've got remote employees, we've got local employees, we've got 2 different buildings, we've got all these things. We're trying to make everybody have a good time. And that's part of the problem. Got dog hair on me from the blanket now. Nirvana Aquatic says it's 2258. So it's 2258 where we're starting people out at currently. That changed just a few months ago. All right. I started buying Buse instead of Anubias. I don't want to deal with getting replacements due to rot. Yeah, that's probably a viable solution until my guess would be Buse plants get super popular and production's rushed, and then they'll start getting Anubias rot. But the only thing I don't like about Buse philander plants, still most of them are pillaging the native lands to get them. So in that model where the farm is getting it and then growing it, all of that doesn't exist. Now it's buy a giant mat of it that's ripped out of the wild, cut it up a bunch, put it into the pot, sell it for a big amount of money. And I even said that to somebody that was in the retail store when I was there a few weeks ago. I was like, Buse philander is awesome. Unfortunately, we don't sell most of it because we'll only sell stuff that has been either sustainably sourced, like Vallisneria and banana plants in America, or captive raised in some way. So that's how we get there. I don't know Matt, probably because there's not that much meat like roaches. I don't know what we're talking about, but yeah, these shirts are pretty cool. Like I'm just wearing one because I got one, but yeah, this is the kind of stuff I think is kind of neat where we can have our partners enjoy listening to us and watch us. And then this is free of charge, by the way. So that was super cool. Um, and I think that builds better bonds and relationships between businesses. So AKT makes, if you're buying our hoodies or uh, the coins, the membership coins, or socks or polos or hats, all that's coming from AKT. And they're actual aquarists too, which is super nice. Super nice to be able to, work with people that actually enjoy the industry. Does Jungle Val spread like regular Val? Yes, mostly it sends out runners. Any updates on the retail space? Moving along slowly. We got yesterday, what happened? We got temperature controllers put in on the water heaters. We got sink installed. We got a water line run to the 1,500 gallon. There's been some more painting that's been done. I was actually thinking potentially, depending on when I finish up on Friday, visiting Steve at the rehab center, my business partner, that I may film on the way back if it's after hours, but not too late. So, yeah. Are there any rules about your employees starting their own YouTube channels? I feel like the co-op employee would get mad clout. Yeah, this is something we're actually, we were talking about that in a meeting a week ago. We want to refine our policies a bit on social media in general. We do have employees, both Zenzo and Irene have YouTube channels, and we've had other people have YouTube channels in the past and all of that. We do have things in place where at the warehouse and stuff like that, pictures not allowed. And it's mostly because what we've seen happen in the past is someone posts a picture gets shared, and then customer service is getting slammed. Like, where's this product that hasn't released yet, right? And so it's an easy way to like take away the marketing, which it's weird. Like you want, like for instance, when we tell you guys what the 5-year anniversary membership gift is, we want that to be cool, and I want to show it to you and all of that, and not just like, oh, I saw a picture over there. It was in dim light. Is okay, because sometimes there'll be things sitting around the warehouse that are prototypes, and the retail store prototypes, or maybe we get a bad batch of something and we're sending it back. Like, not that we want to hide it necessarily, like the something went wrong, but we also don't want it to be used against us. We also don't, like, the main reasons actually are employees have to sign non-disclosure agreements. They can't tell. This is making me sound bad, so let me back up. All I want to have happen, and the lawyers and stuff help us set this up, is if we hire you and train you and you work for us for a year, we don't want to go, oh, look, our competitor is willing to hire you, and now you have every vendor they work with overseas, every farm they work with, all this, because when something comes in, it might say the manufacturer on it. And we don't want that getting out to just anybody, because that's our livelihood. And so we at least have recourse if someone was to do that. So yeah, it's mostly me taking pictures, and the editor can edit stuff out. Sometimes we find stuff like, ooh, that actually got through. We need to make sure. And it also can be for just safety. Sometimes there's people's addresses we don't want on there. So for instance, if Randy or Zenzo or somebody sends a product into the warehouse because they were testing it, and now I've got to test it, and it's got their address on it, we take a picture of it, and that's on the internet, that's not good. I get calls on my personal cell phone, so do other people in the company, and it's led to some people changing phone numbers and all of that. And so we try to limit that. We know the business we're in, that's in social media and selling stuff. But, we don't want Candy getting a personal phone call at, 6 o'clock in the morning because she's on the West Coast and they're on the East Coast, and she's trying to have breakfast with her family, and they're going, where's my light, or whatever it is. And I learned that valuable lesson myself. I remember like 4 or 5 years ago, I was in Hawaii on my once a year vacation that we don't do often enough. And I was sitting there and I got a phone call and I didn't know who it was, but I picked it up and it was an elderly gentleman that was calling me because they thought they had ordered twice on the website and they had called PayPal and PayPal gave them my phone number. And so, that's 25 minutes of my vacation I'll never get back. And I was polite and he was polite and, all of that. But I learned, I was like, man, we don't want that to be happening to employees and things like that. And we get a lot of scam stuff going on too. We keep sending out kind of, I guess, bulletins to employees. The scam they try to run is essentially, Corey said, buy this person a Visa gift card to make up for the order. And so I would never do that because we always issue money or our own gift cards or stuff like that. And so multiple times, scammers are going to new levels. Every day in my email, I wake up to people trying to break into Facebook and Instagram and all of that. And so we have to be kind of hyper aware and sensitive. And we have, we still believe we still have an active hacker on our YouTube account, which that just makes us sound paranoid and tinfoil hat. But thumbnails were getting changed and we know exactly who has access and it wasn't them. And, so we're running a pretty tight ship because we have these things happening. So, yeah. But to the question of, can someone start a YouTube channel? The answer is probably yes. Can I start it in the aquatic space? I don't know about that. I don't know if we're even legally allowed to control that, but we probably wouldn't go out of our way to help do that because it just, in the past, it always leads to a head where company A wants to sponsor a video, employee wants that money, but we don't align with that product. And so then it's like this real weird thing. Is Bob Steenfott an employee? No, he is not. He has never been an employee. He's just a friend and fellow YouTuber. How old should Guppy Fry be before they're able to handle a week's travel? 10-gallon tanks, 6 to 8 months, planted. Yeah, I would say if they're 6 to 8 months old, they should. I should have taken a video, but I got some rice fish that were microscopic sent to me, and I paid $10 for them, apparently. What do I think of AI providing aquarium information using my image? Sounds terrible. In general, I'm against AI, which makes me sound like an old person. I fully realize how powerful AI can be. I also realize how powerful AI can be to vulnerable people. And what I mean by that is, if you don't know aquariums really well, and AI spits out something that seems logical, you will believe it. And I see it time and time again. And I know other creators that are using AI to write posts and video scripts and things like that. And the good news is they at least proofread it and make changes. But there are lots of spammy websites that aren't doing that. And I do think I have put some thought into this of what are we going to do when they do get so good we don't need a personality anymore, right? Like Irene, part of Irene's job is writing, writing blog articles. But if the AI gets so good that you could just spit out 1,000 of them a day, that doesn't need to exist anymore. But the odd part is, without the original articles and the things for it to learn, then that wouldn't exist. So that's where video AI is lagging a little bit behind writing AI. So it's got a leg up there for a little bit. Live streams might become more important, but there's my brain is too tired to remember. But what are the YouTubers and stuff essentially that it's their voice, but the AI is basically showing them as like a cartoon character or something like that. I can't remember that whole demographic, which I find fascinating. You never even see the real person. It's you know, it's all AI generated. But anyway, it's going to be weird, and I think what's going to happen is there's going to be some trust to personalities, which I'm not sure trusting a personality more is a good thing. Because there's already a lot of trust and a lot of stuff that gets used for ill will, like moral compass on any influencer or marketer. They set it themselves, and some will do anything for money. Some will do nothing for money. Like I would say, a good example of someone who will do nothing for money is Tanner at Super Design. I've tried to work with him many, many times, and we might be the worst company, and he'll never work with us, but he basically doesn't work with many people at all and just does his own thing. So he is very, if there was someone I'd say to kind of follow, would be Serpa Design. He does his own thing, very minimal impact from outside sources, which is good for content and just people. But I do think there is a middle ground between taking no outside influence and taking way too much. Like, I bet you there are aspects of Serpa Design's channel that might be much better if he had extra funding from some of these companies that he did align with. Like, oh, maybe there's a farm that he would love to work with, and now they supply all the plants for him. That might be a good thing, right? Creedmoor has it. VTubers. I was trying to think of the virtual YouTubers. Yeah, VTubers. NPCs is its own. The TikTok NPC thing is its own. Don't want to be on this planet anymore type of scenario for me. And it's not them. The NPC, the people playing the NPCs are making money, apparently. Good for them. It's mostly I'm mind blown at the people paying it. Like, let me give money to that person. That's what I don't get. But that's a whole different rant and weird side of the internet I haven't even attempted to really fully digest yet. I will circle back and say it is amazing that the latest trend is basically to be an NPC to mimic AI essentially, and that's what's getting paid. Like the circle of AI life is like I don't know where the train's getting off, but it's getting real weird. Why would I read an article not written by Irene or the member of the Aquariumcoop team? AI has never kept alive fish. Well, that's the thing, Matt. The problem is if Irene was to start using AI or I was to start using AI, you could read it and you maybe wouldn't know that it was written by AI. And a lot of people who might be brand new to the hobby, let's say you got an aquarium yesterday, you have no idea who anybody is on the internet, and you read an article about ghost shrimp, and it seems logical. You might just follow it. And it was, freshwaterfishhobbyist.com or whatever, thing was open. You kind of just go, oh, okay. Yeah, that seems legit. You try it, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. And that's the problem is there's no reference point. And we've had that problem with Google and that kind of stuff before. And we, as a society, will find a way to get through it. But AI is scary because it's so good. And we played with AI a lot because different people were playing with it, and it like you feed it things like, what's the controversy with Aquarium Co-op? And it would spit things out that were believable. I knew they were untrue, but not everyone else did. They're like, oh, what happened here? It's like, nothing happened there. I don't know what it's talking about. So I can see how it could be used in that way. And that won't be good for society. Any update on the auto feeders and the air pumps? I don't have any since Monday. The last update we had a someone from USPS that was going to watch our shipment from the pickup at our warehouse. We had 2 test shipments. They were going to watch it travel through the facility and see, is there any way is the process happening the way it should? Because apparently our stuff is an anomaly. And once we get that report back and maybe any changes that need to be made, hopefully we'll be able to reinstate the shipping of lithium ion battery stuff, because we're doing everything in compliance. You know, all the stickers are in the right place. All that, you know, we're sticking the limit of 2. All of these things, and so, yeah. So the update is working on it, but don't have the clearance to just, you know, let it go. So as soon as we can, because we're not losing money, but those are sales we could have had every day, and we'd love to have those back. What do I recommend for a jungle valve flow tank to create a single direction flow at the surface like a canister spray bar? In my opinion, I would use a max flow gyro is probably what I would use. There's one in the 800 gallon, so you've probably seen it or you can see it in older videos. I would use those. Tips for hatching rice fish eggs in a tank. This is my first time trying to breed them. Assuming they're deposited on plant leaves, just put those like in any kind of a basket. And I like them in a basket so that when they hatch, I can see them. Where if they just hatch in a tank, you're like looking in the corners under the rim, like trying to find them. Keep them in a confined space, they'll be right there. And it's really easy to put tiny microscopic food on the top and they can find it. So, what are the floating hearts on the chat screen? That means someone's hitting the love button. They like it. Some of us on the care forum are wondering if there are any plans for a meetup in Daytona. So far, no. Have I considered it? Yes. Have I been crazy busy just making sure my business partner recovers? Also, yes. So everything that was in the works has kind of been put on hold. And so I haven't done any more on it. And I don't know when that would resume. So at this point, the best answer is, I don't know. Let's see here. Any experience with plant bulbs of Pontichetans and how to start them and keep them? Yes, lots. You can look at some of the videos that we've talked about reproducing them. I've done that. Usually you want multiple of the same species. When they flower, you can cross-pollinate with a paintbrush. They're stamens. You basically cross-pollinate, and then they will drop a bunch of seeds, and that's how you make new ones. If you want to keep them going for a long time, normally a Pontichetan has a wet and a dry season. So it grows and flowers and looks amazing, and you're so proud of yourself. And then in the wild, the dry season comes. And when that dry season comes, they die back into the bulb, and that's all they are, is a bulb, and they lay dormant for a few months, and then they come back. So your options are to do nothing in your aquarium, and most times they'll just die back for 2 or 3 months, and then they'll come back, and they'll do their amazing thing for 6 or 7 months, and then they'll die back, and they'll just keep that cycle going if they get enough food. Now, if you want the party to happen all the time, not just 7 months out of the year, every time they send that runner up for the flower, if you keep cutting it off, they tend not to leave the cycle if they never get to flower. Keep them from flowering. Keep your robust Pontichetan, whether it's a Crispus or Ovaceus or a Madagascar lace, or there's like 1 or 2 other ones I can't think of at the moment. Caperonii, I think. I know I'm murdering that one, but without seeing it and being able to sound through it. But yeah, that's how I keep them going. Though that's another plant those are amazing plants. The quality control can be very low, and ever since the typhoon hit the place where they were really being cultivated, they've never been the same for what I can see. We do check in on them about once a year and see how many moldy, mushy bulbs are still making it through. And maybe someday we'll be big enough to go direct, and then we might be able to control quality a little more. The Max Spec gyro pump. Yeah, there's those. There's also some Jabo. Like, there's a million places that make them now. It used to only be Max Spec, and then I think Ice Cap makes them now, and like 40 other just like random brand companies. Yeah, I find it weird that, and I hope my company never becomes this way. There's companies that I remember being like stand up way back in the day, like Lifeguard, where you're like, oh, Lifeguard, that's some good stuff. It's expensive and they had equipment no one else had. And now, in my opinion, Lifeguard is just, yeah, we're gonna put our name on it and put it for sale on Lowe's. It's like they sell basically our feeder at 50 some dollars and it's Lowe's.com and that kind of stuff. And so that happens more and more every day. There's another company cropping up to throw their name on stuff, which we obviously put our name on stuff, but they don't even change things. And so what I'm saying is on Amazon, there's going to be a lot of people selling those gyro pumps that they're all just the same thing for the most part. Change one little display setting or something like that, and a lot of them don't even change it. So, I kind of feel like from what I've tested so far, just buy the cheap one and you'll have good results. Or I've had good results. I can't guarantee you will. Updates on Canada shipping. All Canada shipping goes through aprilsaquarium.com. You can order online there. They ship it quick. They got free shipping after the threshold, all of that. In my opinion, done. Order from them. Been a long time. Amazing to see you still rocking the chat. Someone's got to put that song together. Rock the chat box. My Betta just got a cut on one of his fins. Will it recover? You'll have to stay tuned to find out more. He will recover. Most animals, just living creatures in general, superficial cut, things are designed to heal up. Otherwise, they die all the time. So if you have good water quality, which you probably do, it'll heal up. You won't even, you might notice a little mark or something, but think of it like if I cut my hand today, is it going to heal? Most likely it will. If I keep it clean, it'll probably heal up. Maybe I'll be left with a mark, but hey, that's life. Let's see. Any progress on the plastic circle air stone that connected to the sponge filters? Yes. Just can't share it yet. Well, I mean, I can't share it, I guess, but waiting on more samples, really. Anyone remember Lee's aquarium products? They were always the cheapest back in the day. I do. I used to sell a lot of Lee's gravel vacs. I think we still do. Because Python's still $4 billion and they don't want to sell anything at a reasonable price to a fish store. So Lee's are still in the fish stores. They used to be the go-to for air stones and air accessories and all of that. And that's, I guess with these brands, what my fear is that the story arc of the brand is like someone passionate builds a business. It's awesome. They either lose the passion or they sell the company or they put someone else in charge and they're not as passionate. And then they just go into like, it's a numbers game. And so I'll do everything I can for Aquarium Co-op to hopefully my legacy isn't we turn into a numbers game and no one actually cares. Because I think that's actually what will transcend time is like always actually caring will be the thing that keeps you relevant 20 years from now, 50 years from now, 100 years from now. When it becomes like, yeah, you're just a profitable company and it's all about numbers, that's when you just turn into like, yeah, but do they even actually care? And a lot of time the answer is like, not really. How many Aquarium Co-op heaters for my 125? Multiple Aquarium Co-op lights or one? And it's no plants, just American cichlids. I would do two 36-inch lights, so you basically got an even spread across that 6-foot tank. I personally would run glass tops with plastic back strips cut out just for my filtration. And I would run one 100-watt heater, and in my home or my fish room, it would be plenty. Now, you could say, but it's in my garage or my basement, or I don't like glass tops, or I want more light or less light, or all of these things. And that's kind of a cooking to taste preference. But the bare minimum to start, I would say, is the two 36-inch lights for the way I keep fish and the 100-watt heater. Someone will say, I only use a 4-foot light on my 125. And I go, great, you do you. I don't like having the extra dark corners. I like an evenly lit aquarium for me personally. Oh, I just missed that. It's been a while since I saw a live stream. I've taken a huge break from fish since my daughter was born. Congratulations on the new birth. Looks like a turret or a sunroom with all those windows. It's both. Right, it's a sniper tower. Some days it's the Tinky Tower. Some days it's the Wizard Tower if I'm playing too many video games. What else have we called it? It's pretty much been only those. But yes, definitely kind of a towery, looks like I'm in a yurt type of thingy. Ooh, gifting the 1 membership from the Steenfod Aquatics. That's right. Ooh, and Kaylee Caulfield won it. Is it a win? I don't know if it's a win. Got it? Received it? My Python hook O-ring is worn out. Anybody have any tips on replacing it? As far as I know, it's just like a normal garden hose washer. So run to your Home Depot or Amazon or Lowe's or whatever and just buy like a pack of those little things for $3 or something. Replace it. You should be good to go. It's a little rubber washer. We're doing tank maintenance this evening. I noticed tonight for the first time when I disturbed the gravel in just one area, it released a ton of bubbles. It's never happened before. Yeah, so gas pockets build up in your substrate when stuff is breaking down. Could be fish poop, could be food, could be root tabs, could be probably some other stuff I can't think of. And over time, the bacteria and stuff that digests that usually creates some gas. And that gas will build up over time. And if you have like, a lot of times in a planted tank where you don't substrate gravel vac for a long, long time, you'll have it all over the place. Or in the videos like in Peru, when we go, you'll see lots of bubbles coming up all the time. And it smells like rotten eggs. Lots of gases that build up. For the most part, in my opinion, harmless. Don't worry about it. If they get so big where they're kind of erupting, as I would call it, where the substrate like explodes open, like you see in dirted tanks sometimes because so many microbes and just stuff rotting going on, that's kind of unsightly and ugly, and that might be a little too much. But normal little bubbles coming up when you're gravel vacuuming and stuff, not so much a problem, I think. Longtime follower and have been brain comprehend. Longtime follower and have been not being as into aquariums lately. Any suggestions on how to reignite the passion? First, tear it all down. That's kind of where I start, is I get rid of a lot of fish, and I don't know how many aquariums, but for me, the first steps are get rid of everything I'm not thrilled about. And if you're really like, oh, I don't even like my aquariums, that's probably most everything, right? So you might be like, yep, those barbs need to go. I don't like those tetras anymore. These corridoras need to beat it. These plants, I'm giving to my buddy. These are going to the fish store. And then you got like 3 open tanks. Then set yourself up on a path to success. Bring a buddy, a spouse, a friend, a kid, somebody with you. Let's say you got 3 aquariums and you got open slates, and make a fish store day and start out, go to a fish store that's far away from your house. You start driving, it's a couple hours away, and you just go look, and maybe you find nothing. And then you go get lunch, and then you go to the next one, you go to the next one, and eventually you're going to fall in love with something, or the person you brought with you is going to go, well, these are super cool, why don't you do these? And maybe they'll talk you into keeping something. And half the time, the fish that I end up loving are ones that I didn't even think I was going to like. Katie, my wife, will be like, let's get some of these. I'm like, I guess, I haven't done them in a while. And then you're like, oh, wow, these things are starting to breed, or they're doing a cool thing, or I read about them and I didn't realize this was going on. And that usually helps reignite my passion, because when I lose the passion, I'm stuck with a bunch of stuff I'm not having fun with. And the first step for me getting out of that is getting all the stuff off of my plate of the stuff I'm not having fun with. And then that leaves room to go get the stuff I want, or to find new stuff that I might want. What did Tiger Shovel Nose taste like? That's a hard question to answer. I don't know the flavor, because flavors get a little bit muddled up based on who's cooking. Like this one could be more garlic and a lot of butter and the way, but I feel like the texture is almost like salmon burgers, if you ever had a salmon burger, but I don't know. I don't know how to describe the taste. I need to eat it again. I haven't eaten it in a couple years, but I value it more than steak and everything like that. It was real good. Really, really good. We started requesting it we were saying every time we stop at any local village along the river, ask them if they got shovel nose, we will buy it. And not only were we doing that, the cooks and stuff that were on the boat, they were buying some to bring back to their families when they got done with the expedition. So, yeah, it's really good. I don't know if I need to eat it again to go, okay, that's what it tastes like. I just remember it being really good, whereas like a Plecostomus, common pleco, it was more like consistency of tuna fish, but it's kind of muddy. Discus wasn't very good. Pacu, a lot of bones in both the discus and the pacu. Piranha, same way. Yeah. Mountaintop, puffer keeper, breeds a lot of puffers. Bringing the free gifted membership. Looks like Kyle Redburn won it. Congrats. Started a gifted membership train. That's right. When did the USB pump go micro USB? I don't think ever. I think it's Type C, right? We were working on some stuff with that thing. I'm not sure where we're at in our current iteration, but it should be at Type C. And then we reversed it back to USB Type A. That's a product we spent so much time on and haven't made the headway we want to make with that product. It's been, I don't want to say irritating, but not fruitful. That's, you never know what you're going to know until you do it. So we couldn't have known that, but it has been fruitful so far. As in, we haven't made it crazy better, made it extra good iterations on it. What I will say is we learn a lot. We didn't know that you could have Type C connections that have to work with specific chargers. I thought the whole point of Type C was universal. So we do learn a lot. Matt Gray with 5 gifted memberships. Not reading all those names just because that's going to be a thing. All right, we're getting close to wrapping up here. I got stuff I still got to get done today. And, I just want to spend some time. I wanted to update you guys, kind of where I've been, where I might be for a little while. Just trying to make sure my business partner, I call him my business partner, but it really should just be my friend, because if he wasn't my business partner, I'd still be doing this. So it probably makes it seem like he's only doing that because he's a business partner. That being said, I can't guarantee he'd be as close of a friend if he wasn't my business partner, because I don't have that many close friends, but maybe he would be. I knew him for 10 plus years and we're pretty darn close before we ever opened a business together. So I like to think I'd still be that good stand-up guy if he was having that problem then, as he is now. But, it's definitely put things in perspective for me on what do I think is important. How does a business operate when I'm absent? Randy, Zenzo, Candy, all the people that you don't know their names, but they work for me. Everyone's been doing an awesome job and has made it as easy on my end to be with my friend. And still, I got to be honest, I'm only operating at 30% of my business duties. There's less meetings I'm in. There's less I've got a stack of products I need to finish testing. I've been lackadaisical on the books. There are some things I saw that Stephen P 2003 is in here. I've been working on getting some more influencers, some products sent out and that kind of stuff. So there are some things I do work on from the hotel room and stuff, but there's not those big, long, day-long sessions where I get to work on necessarily what I want to work on for the business. And so, everybody's been very accommodating, which made it as stress-free as the crazy stress can be, which has been good. And and you guys have been accommodating too. I realize that not every video we're putting out is a banger, but when I get back into the fish room and hang out a little more, we get Dean in there and we get some stuff done. I still got to wrap up that retail store, and we got to do an event there, and there's still still a lot of stuff that needs to be wrapped up before I can really just be I'm in the fish room all the time, making the videos and having a good time with you guys. but I'm hoping soon. I keep telling myself next week, next week. Now with I know my buddy, it's weeks until he's, he I don't want to say self-sustainable because he is self-sustainable. I don't know what the right, till he's good enough to where like he can drive again and he's not on so many meds and, he doesn't have to worry about his brain as much. Like all of those things, um, yeah, all those things need to get kind of better before, might have to give, his daughter some rides to school and stuff. We're going to help out as much as we can. Then we can come back and I'm hoping I'll feel a little rested up and really be jonesing to do the product testing and the videos and the live streams and all of that stuff for you guys. Because I do, the longer I'm away from it, the more I miss it. And so that's kind of a good thing for me. All right, I'm going to cut it loose. I know I've been forgetting the past few live streams, and that's been irritating me. Make sure you compliment somebody this week. My wife came up with a great idea, and I'll not came up with it. She found a great idea that I think is amazing, and I had never heard of it before, and it's a good thing. So first, give a compliment to someone. My wife is the king and queen at that. She compliments everybody all the time, and makes me look real bad at it. But the tip that she saw, and I think it's great, if you ever have someone go in the hospital and you care about them, which you should, you bring a big bowl of candy with a sign that says, "Thank you for checking on X," whoever your loved one is. And then all the nurses and everybody will keep checking in on the person that's there. And they're like, "Ooh, don't mind if I do. Piece of candy." And my wife went all out. Like, not just little pieces of candy. I mean, there's full things of Mambas in there. There's combos. There's Raisinets. There's Reese's peanut butter cups. And all the nurses are appreciative, which we're appreciative for their work they're doing. And, I do think you get the benefit of like, ooh, I could use some Sour Patch Kids. Room 296, that's a free vending machine. I'm going to go check on that person. So I thought it was genius, and I've been seeing it work. And I think it's just kind of a good thing to do anyway. I'm sure I know quite a few nurses just because they find an outlet with aquariums, and their jobs can be very stressful. And even though they're working there every day, they still build attachment to patients, and it doesn't always go well and all of that. And so I think it's one little good step you can do. You spend that $20. She just went to the dollar store. She spent more than $20, but loaded up on a bunch of stuff, and we put one in at the rehab place as well. And hopefully it'll just be either A, it's a great reward, or B, it'll get him a few more checkups, which he's hating, I'm sure, but we want to stay on top of this. So there's your tip of the week from the wife, which I thought was genius. How did I never think about that? Because I love to deploy bribing in all other areas of business. Like, oh, you deliver my mail? Here, have some candy. Like, one of the things that I wasn't a part of this, so whoever thought of this, give the credit to them in my company. And I don't know who yet, I'll ask. But someone set up a mini fridge with so we have a big fridge for all the employees at the warehouse with drinks. Someone set up a little mini fridge back by the receiving dock at the warehouse, filled with drinks for all the drivers to deliver to us. So kudos to the person that put that into place. And I love, I call it bribing people. But really, it's kind of a subtle thank you of like, hey, thanks. If someone delivers something to here, I always go, hey, you need to the restroom, in the fish room, or hey, you need something to drink? I got it. And usually they always turn you down. But every once in a while you get someone like, that would be amazing, actually. And so it's so worth it just to offer up those small conveniences. And I know when I was a delivery driver, before I had the Aquarium Co-op empire that I do today, for me, it was not so much the drinks because I had those in the truck, but I delivered oxygen to a lot of the elderly and just people that might have come out of the hospital. But the elderly in particular, I'd meet them every week. And every once in a while, they baked me some cookies or something. And those homemade grandma cookies, awesome. So, a small act of kindness like that, kindness like that can make a big difference in someone's work week. So consider doing it yourself, and maybe we don't do it here where we get deliveries because it would sit right in the sun. It'd be hot. It'd be opening up like a boiling, Coke or something. So we don't do it here, but try to do it. All right, we'll talk to you later. Have a good day. And as Steam Thought Aquatic says, true, sometimes I stop by, just use the bidet. That's right, we do have a bidet out there. But we also get truck drivers and stuff that have to sit here while we unload it, and they got to use the restroom. So we, we go, hey, there's a restroom in there, pond down there, need something to drink in the fridge. We're going to sweat this out and get it done as fast as we can. And they're usually pretty grateful for that. So, all right, we'll see you soon. I don't know when yet. I'm going to focus on friends and family for a little bit, make sure I get those videos out, and hopefully test some more products. I'm waiting on one in particular. It's on the way. I'm real excited for it. So have a great day. Compliment somebody. It's date night, and we'll see you next time, which I haven't had a date night in a couple weeks, so got to have a date night tonight.